but John Rentoul is joining me, a great chief political commentator from The Independent, who is hopefully going to tell me why I'm wrong. John, it's great to have you on the show again.
It does sound very bad from the way you put it, I must say. I mean, I think Keir Starmer should come out of number 10 now with his hands up. She's not in number 10. He's in Poland, isn't he? Well, he should come back from Poland. He should get off the plane. He should come to talkTV Towers and surrender.
Well, John, I'm delighted to hear that you think I've been that persuasive in my argument. But of course, maybe I'm just being a miserable so-and-so, John, and this is why I need to hear from you.
It's a bit one-sided, actually, Jonathan. I thought to say that inflation is up and interest rates are up when inflation was down on Wednesday.
It's still up from when they came into government, John, aren't they? It's still up from when they came into government.
It was down. It was lower than expected. Interest rates. Everybody was very excited about long-term 30-year interest rates last week, and saying Rachel Reeves would have to resign. They're now back down to where they were before. People started panicking.
They also said that, John, after the budget, didn't they? After the budget, there was a panic. Then things went calm. Then we had another panic again. So it would be wrong to assume there won't be another panic in the future.
Well, of course, yes. I mean, so yeah, week by week there'll be fluctuations, and it'll go up and it'll go down. I mean, it's absurd to call for the resignation of the Chancellor just because of 1 week's figures. So yeah, no, things are not nearly as bad as you're suggesting. But equally, I have checked this story that Keir Starmer wants to be Prime Minister for 10 years. What he was actually saying, he was referring to Boris Johnson, who did say that he wanted to be Prime Minister for 10 years. And he was pointing out that was only 4.5 years ago. And, things do change. And then people have also pointed out that Keir Starmer has talked of a decade of national renewal. He's sort of set out a manifesto for two terms, but he hasn't linked that personally to his own ambition to stay in number 10 himself for 10 years.
But John, Keir Starmer bet the house on growth, and at best, we've had 0.1%, which I'm not going to be grateful for when they've had 0% and effectively talked themselves into recession. Rachel from accounts has managed to almost crash the economy.
You're not allowed to use that. You're not allowed to use that term. It's boring now.
It might be boring, John, to you, but it's not boring to the great British people who are sick and tired of Rachel Reeves or Rachel Thieves. There you go. There's another one for you.
It's sexist. It's classist.
It's not sexist, John. Come on. It's Rachel Thieves, okay? It's robbing pensioners, robbing farmers, but happy to give money away to foreign farmers, setting up a GB energy company with a Ed Miliband.
That was Tory policy.
Setting up Ed Miliband.
Foreign aid budget is Tory policy.
Well, John, I think you know my views on foreign aid. Let's be frank here. I think I'm one of the most authentic voices that we should be scrapping the whole thing entirely. We shouldn't be giving away British taxpayers money.
That wasn't your government's policy.
And the Labour government could have chosen to not give that 11 billion overseas, but of course they want to virtue signal on the world stage. I mean,
so did your lot.
I'm desperate, John, to find out what Labour's doing well. Please tell me, what is Labour doing well? What have I missed?
Well, I mean, broadly speaking, I think Rachel Reeves has taken the right approach. She's restored the public finances. She inherited them in a terrible state. She had to protect public services, so she's put more money into the NHS in particular, and she's had to raise taxes, and that's uncomfortable.
John,
and all
local councils,
very difficult for people.
John, local councils aren't getting enough money to even cover the national insurance increase.
So you want to put taxes up even more?
No, I don't want to put taxes up even more. I don't want more taxes on employers, working people. Something that Keir Starmer could even describe what working person was. And actually, at the end of the day, you've just seen that we're going to see a city council directly impacted in Stoke-on-Trent by the increase in employers' NICs directly, not including the impact they'll see to services that they outsource, particularly in children and adult social care. This Labour government is going to bankrupt public services. At the same time, it's going to bankrupt the private sector by deterring investment and undermining jobs in this country. They are destroying the economic evidence, John, is not looking good. The fact that we're seeing long-term debt, which I know you said is something we shouldn't worry about, but the interest rates on our debt is higher than it is in Germany. It is a real concern that debt is going up, growth is going down, or if not happening at all, let's be perfectly frank, in this great nation.
Jonathan, we've just had the IMF today saying that Britain's upgrading its forecast for growth.
The IMF
saying
is never
that Britain's going to have the fastest growth in Europe. Oh well, in that case.
I don't take the IMF. Come on, no one takes the IMF seriously. Okay, let's be perfectly frank. Their forecasting is about as predictable as me knowing the lottery numbers every week. It is for the birds that we should believe the IMF. The OBR.
Well, I'm sure you know better.
The OBR. Well,
I don't think you believe the OBR.
Well, the OBR has been very clear, John, that they think Labour's jobs tax is going to undermine jobs and cost jobs.
No, it doesn't.
They said that there's not going to be 20. They said this £22 billion black hole didn't exist. They couldn't substantiate that at all for the Labour government. They actually said it's about £9.5 billion, which guess what? They gave away in inflation-busting pay rises.
No, those were essential to maintain public services. I mean, the Tory government would have had to do exactly the same.
John, there was more money in the NHS than ever before, £160 billion a year in the NHS, and yet productivity was not improving. And Labour have talked about reforms, but we're yet to see any reforms. It's all well and good throwing money,
well, at least,
but we don't know what the hell's going to actually happen to improve productivity.
But at least we're moving in the right direction now. Whereas under the Conservatives, I'm afraid the NHS was in a terrible state and flat on its back.
John, you know I love you. You know I love you, John. But the pollsters are not agreeing with you.
How to reform it?
Are the pollsters wrong? Do you think the pollsters are wrong in what they're saying right now about popularity of Sir Keir Starmer, popularity of this Labour government?
No, Keir Starmer's very unpopular. Yeah, no, I accept that. He's had a terrible start, but that is partly because he's had a terrible inheritance from your lot.
Oh, John, I love you. I'm glad to have you on the show, and I look forward to seeing you around, hopefully, Westminster sometime soon. Thanks so much to John Rentoul for joining us.